I thought I'd do this video in the hope that it's of some interest and maybe provokes other creative thought. I started this song with the lyrics, and I wrote the lyrics whilst watching David Lynch's Eraserhead on mute, which I know sounds incredibly pretentious, but it's just a way of coming up with ideas, a different way of approaching a song. I like to come up with different ways of starting songs and just use the visuals to conjure up certain thoughts. I was thinking quite a lot about ego at the time, so that was kind of playing into it, thinking about the impermanence of things. Once I'd done the lyrics, I was then thinking about the sounds that I wanted to use to try and get that across. And I came up with some instructions. So look, there's all different instructions here. Minimal drums, record vocals into different plugins here. Chop up orchestral bits and record to tape. Play back and reverse at wrong speed. And then this bit about funfair organ, make sound and turn into sample. I did do something along those lines, which I will show you now. So I started with a synthesized orchestral pad sound, and I used this plugin called Pulse Stretch, which is free, and it allows you to stretch things 1024 times as long as they originally were. And I recorded little segments of the chords into that, and then bounced out long versions of that. Then I chopped up little bits and pieces of that, and then used another free plugin called A1 Trigger Gate. Just, you can select out on the grid little bits of sound you want to let in. Let's hear that. Dun, 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 dun. To end up with those little bits like that. So that gave me the first musical element, and I had an idea for drums that I wanted to bash out alongside that. Kick drum, £10 from the charity shop, does the job. So alongside the drums I just played, I added in a few extra hits and made some manipulations to change the pitch of the snare in parts and use some triggers to add additional sounds. So then we got that, and then I just needed to add a bit of bass to that and a few other sounds. So for the bass I used this modular synth. It was just the Platts in its analog kick drum emulation mode with a bit of use of a filter and probably not a lot else. I don't remember. I'm not going to set it up to show you because this is all a work in progress of something else at the minute, and if I unpatch all of that I won't be able to remake it, so that must stay. Nice and simple. There's also a little pitched conga in there. I did play some real congas in the track, but you can barely hear them because I mixed them too loud. So then for the chorus section, which is what I describe an anti-chorus because it gets there and it's like, oh, it feels very heavy and almost like a sad release. It doesn't feel very elevated, which I like. Feels almost like a cop-out, but in a good way, I hope. I added a little arpeggiator sound on that Prophet over there. Which helps to accentuate the vocal melody. But then also there was one other thing. I added some guitar. And that was just running through. I'll show you what it sounds like when it's done properly. And that's just doubling up the vocals. Just adding a bit of a different texture, a bit more interesting. What else? Now this tape echo whilst I was recording the vocals, I had one of my hands reaching round. So I was in this little booth here. There it was. And I had my hand out here, reaching in, and just manipulating that bit of tape there as it was working. Now I can't show you because it's broken. It needs to go to somebody in Watford to give it a fix because of this wretched virus. Not much chance of going still for a while. But what I was doing is grabbing this tape and slowing it down in parts, manipulating the playback of it, controlling my interpretation of the past with my playback of it. I can show you on the computer how that worked.
Isn't air that's difficult to breathe? My life is just a painting in the...
So it creates quite interesting effects, and you can hear that throughout. I like this kind of trying to hands-on manipulate things as much as possible. There's also some manipulation here. I don't even know what I was sending out. I was sending something out of the computer into that modular and then butchering it and sending it back in, but you can hear a little. So it all works to complement the lyrics. And then the one last thing, at the end of the track I ran everything into the modular, and I will have only done something simple with it to capture tiny little fragments and add delay to them. Probably ran it through some other things, can't remember. Got no evidence of what I did because again, it's all bounced audio, but so that's just the last bit of the track, ran straight into the modular and blended back in. I hope some of that's been of interest to you. Thanks for watching.